Welcome to Plymouth Covenant Church online. It's great to have you visit with us today. Let me ask you just a simple question. Is Easter just one day a year? Or does Easter truly change everything? We believe that we're living in God's resurrection power through Jesus Christ, especially during a time like this. As the pandemic continues to spread fear around us, we believe we can confront that with faith in Jesus Christ. It changes the way we think about everything, even about our stuff. I believe these last few days have helped us realize that a lot of the things that we hold that keep us secure aren't really that important. But I want to say this, that we at Plymouth Covenant believe your stuff can make a difference for the kingdom. And we're going to just encourage you to consider supporting our church during this difficult time. We've been really reaching out, helping people. There's been lots of things that we've been doing that have just changed the community, and we're excited about that, but we need your help. So I've invited Michael Engel, a chairman of our church, and he's going to talk a little bit about what we're looking forward to next year. Thank you.
All right, thanks Pastor Dan so much. You know, I am so proud of the way our church and staff have responded to these unprecedented times. As Dan has said many times, it's times like these when our church is called to shine even brighter. I believe that we are doing that in how we are serving our community. I want to share a few exciting things that God has done through PCC over the last year. First of all, we're able to finish a wonderful update to the Turtle Lake Cafe and foyer, and most importantly, create a new area for the hub. This project has allowed us to bring an updated look to PCC that is more inviting as people walk through our doors, as well as allow us to utilize our space in a more efficient and effective manner. Secondly, this year, we were also able to partner with a new church plant called North City Church. This church was planted by JD and his wife, Christian Ann, in the community of North Minneapolis. We get the amazing privilege to work with them and support them financially over the next 3 years. We also get to build a relationship with them to go and serve in that community in many different facets. Finally, the congregation earlier this spring approved a $100,000 gift to go to Covenant Pines Bible Camp. This is going to support their building project where they look to build a new worship center. What an amazing privilege for us to get to work alongside a ministry that has had such an impact to so many families here at Plymouth Covenant. I also want to acknowledge all the work our staff and volunteers do on a week-in, week-out basis. They support vital ministries that continue to produce amazing fruit here at church. Whether it is a wonderful Sunday morning experience or whether it is youth ministries or adult ministries throughout the week, these ministries are truly the lifeblood of Plymouth Covenant that make us what we are. This is how God continues to use this place to accomplish what He has called us to do, which is to come and see and go and serve Him. Now I'd like to give a few updates of exciting things we see God doing here over the next year. First, it has become clear to the shepherds and trustees team over the last couple years that we need to hire a new position, and we're going to call this position the Executive Director of Operations. This person will be responsible for overseeing all aspects of PCC that relate to finances, building and facilities, HR, and communications. This new role will work as a second chair leader with Dan and help him carry forward the mission and vision of Plymouth Covenant. We also believe that this role will alleviate some of the duties that our pastors have been called to do and allow them to do what they are truly called to in doing ministry and walking alongside people in their lives. We hope to have this position in place by early fall. Next, I would like to give an update on what we are calling our coffee shop ministry. A major desire at PCC is to be involved and minister to our community. We don't want to just sit in church, but we want to get out in our community and bless people and build relationships with them. We feel God has been calling us to do this in a way of establishing a coffee shop here in Plymouth. This would be a place used for ministry, either through a Sunday morning service or evening ministry events. It would also be a place for our community to come and gather in a distinct Christian environment where we can love and build relationship with our neighbors. This spring, our congregation voted and approved to set aside $100,000 to start this ministry. We're in the process of continuing to pray and seek out where that location might be for this ministry and whom God might bring to help us run this ministry. None of these things we've talked about, whether it's day-to-day stuff or bigger, exciting projects that we have ahead of us, can happen without a congregation serving in many ways as well as giving financially. It is truly a blessing to be a part of a church that is so generous in both of these ways. So every spring, we take pledges for our upcoming fiscal year, which begins in July. This process helps us to set our budget. We believe strongly at PCC that giving is more about our heart towards God and how we view the things He has given us than His need for our money. Through giving generously and sacrificially, we get to proclaim that all things come from God, and we are called to be good stewards of those things that He has given to us. I believe, especially during challenging times like this, we are called to give generously and sacrificially. That is a way for us to proclaim that we are fully dependent on God and trust Him for all that He has given us. I would ask that you would take some time over the next few weeks and pray about how you could walk alongside Plymouth Covenant and support this amazing ministry financially. Thanks so much for all that everybody in this church does to make this the amazing ministry God's called us to, that we could reach this community for the name of Jesus.
Thank you, Michael. We're so blessed at Plymouth Covenant to have such great leaders like Michael, our shepherd team, our trustees, all the pastors. I'm just so grateful for them. My wife and I have been watching a movie or a television show called The Chosen. If you haven't watched it, I really encourage you to turn it on and watch it during these down times. Just last night we were watching one of the episodes, and Jesus is walking with Peter. He's called him to follow him, and he's going to turn him into a fisher of men. And Peter doesn't understand that. In fact, he doesn't understand a lot of what Jesus does. At one point, Peter's reaching out to Matthew, who is the tax collector, and Peter says, "What are you doing? This is so different." And Jesus said, "Walk with me. We're going to do things differently." We do things differently at Plymouth Covenant as well. We really believe that when everybody else runs out, we should run in. We believe that when everybody else steps away, we should step closer. We believe God has called us to make a difference, not to be in fear, but to be filled with faith. And that can be best expressed in our ministry, in our time, in our service, but also how we deal with our stuff. God has made us stewards of all that He's given us. And I just encourage you to step with us as we make a difference. We still have pledged over 20% of our budget for the people outside of our church, for global and local ministries that are outside of our ministry here. We believe God is calling us to make a difference throughout the world. So you say, how do I do that? How do I pledge? We normally would receive them during a weekend offering, but we can't do that right now. So what we're going to ask you to do is one of two ways. You'll be receiving a letter from Plymouth Covenant. And in that letter, there's a pledge card. You can fill out the part with the amount and send it into the office. You don't need to send your name. We don't believe your right hand needs to know what your left hand's doing. Just send in the amount, and we'll record that. And from those amounts, we build our budget. In fact, if you don't pledge, if you don't support us, our budget's going to be reduced. And so we just encourage you to think, pray over this, and consider how sacrificially you can make a difference, because we want to do things differently here. If you didn't get a card in the mail, just call the church office. I've got Betty's email on the screen behind me. You can just send her an email and say, I need a pledge card, and she'll send you one. Or you can go online. On the church webpage, there's actually a link that will take you where you can submit your pledge. Confidential, of course. It doesn't even require your name. But we encourage you to just consider how God is asking you to move forward with us. We want Easter to continue from just one day to make a difference throughout the world for the rest of time. But to do that, we need your help. God bless you. If you need anything, don't forget, call the pastor's hotline. We'd love to come alongside and spend time with you. Thank you.